So Scott, welcome to the program. Next week, you're going to be a featured presenter at our next Superstock live stream. It's going to be next Wednesday. So really, today's interview is a way for investors to kind of get to know you, kind of get a head start on the next week's real debut. So we'll ask you some questions, open up for some audience Q&A, some audience chat. But first, can you explain what does FansUnite do exactly?
Yeah, so FansUnite, I would say now, so we recently completed a merge of two companies a couple of weeks back. So that was a combination of FansUnite, which was founded by Darius, who's now the president of the company, and a company I founded, Ascot Entertainment. So, we've both been in the online gambling space for over 7 years, known each other. So we worked together and we brought the two companies together. So really now we're a fully integrated, pure play online iGaming company. So I'll probably mix the terms, but iGaming is sort of the term used. Yeah. I mean, iGaming is kind of the industry name for online gambling outside of really North America. So we're an online gambling company. And when I say integrated, we kind of cover every aspect now that we've combined. So we have both B2C operations. So B2C meaning direct to consumer. So we run and power brands that go directly to consumers that have the ability to accept wagers in multiple jurisdictions. That's one part of the business now. We are also a B2B provider. So we have a full gaming platform. And what that allows is us to sell our software services as a white label or software to operators who want to get into gambling. So they're either looking to get into the space without a gaming license, or they have a gaming license and they're looking for some of our products.
So here's but because again, there's a lot of terms. There's eSports, e-gaming, and iGaming. So what does your platform allow people to bet on? Is it the eSports? Is it those video games?
Yeah, so it's now basically everything when we combine. So with Ascot Entertainment, which was the company we started, we were an esports betting company. We started in 2013 in the traditional sports world. So we were licensed offshore in the Isle of Man. We built a peer-to-peer betting exchange. In 2014 is when we got introduced to the esports space. And so for esports, meaning competitive video game playing, so people who are competing at video game events. So our platform, we chose to cover live local area network events. So these are where professional players and teams are in a stadium playing against each other for millions and millions of fans. So in 2014, we looked at that audience of hundreds of millions. And we looked at the age being 18 to 25 typically, and we looked at the growth coming behind them. So this wave of people following that.
Sports. I mean, esports right now is actually bigger than football, anything right now.
Absolutely, especially since you can't play many sports right now. But it's a bit pandemic proof. So we saw that, and we wanted to test the concept of betting around esports. So we put out the first ever daily fantasy site for esports at that time, which was called esportspools.com. So you could go on and pick your fantasy team of Counter-Strike players. That's one of the games we covered. League of Legends players, Dota 2 players, build your fantasy team. Very quickly, we registered over 200,000 users in 160 different countries. And that was really the catalyst for us to go back and say, we want to build a full gaming platform for betting on esports, full entertainment products. So with Ascot, we did that. We brought to this company the esports angle and our full gaming platform behind it. So we allow people to bet on pre-match events, live events. We have our own what we call random number generated games. So these are casino style games. So think of slots, but think of a video game theme or concept on top of that. In a minute, I can probably flip over and show you a couple of these things. It'll give people a better idea.
Demos are always good.
Yeah, but just to sort of finish out the round of the company. So with FansUnite, so Ascot, where we started, was the eSports side of things. FansUnite was actually on the traditional sports side. And heading into this year, as Ascot, our company was considering public markets ourselves, but really we wanted to bring some traditional sports into the platform. So to be a real true, I think, online gambling platform, we wanted to eliminate exit points for our partners. So if we sign a B2B client, and our B2B model is where we'll get a guaranteed monthly license fee, and then on top of that, we get a revenue share. So the blue sky for our business is adding all of these B2B partners and then watching them grow, because we participate in the growth. But we didn't want anybody to leave. So even though, we had esports fans, coming to bet on Counter-Strike, they also might want to bet on the Champions League for soccer. They might want to bet on basketball. And the platform as it was didn't have that. So they would exit to go place their sports bets. They would also exit to go play casino style games. And so with the merge with FansUnite had the sports side. They were looking to incorporate esports, because if you're a sports book now or a casino and you're missing esports, it's noticed.
Yeah, so it's basically, essentially now you're like a full Vegas style casino. As soon as somebody walks in, you have something for everybody. They're not going to walk out. You got a sports book, you have slot machines, craps, roulette, whatever, poker, everything.
Yeah, and it's all sort of built by us. That's sort of the unique thing. Like, we've been at this for years. Both companies, Fans and Ascot, were sort of working away quietly, building away, tech, and we both wanted to be tech-led companies. And you're seeing I think the market appetite for companies that own tech now. So the big one being what happened with I think the DraftKings deal, when DraftKings acquired the special purpose vehicle. A huge component of that deal was the acquisition of SB Tech. And DraftKings would say that SB Tech, I think in their opinion, was one of two full turnkey tech stacks for online gambling. And we've built that as well. So we're a full turnkey tech stack for online gambling. DraftKings recognize they'll save hundreds of millions of dollars in their fees each, over the years to their tech provider. So they acquired that in. So that's what we're starting to see, is people understanding now the value of tech. For many years, the operators got away with being brands. So they were marketing companies being the brand.
I want to back up in case investors missed the part, because I think you said something which, was important. So the DraftKings deal, DraftKings, huge stock now. So you're saying a big part of the value, that deal was the tech stack. You're saying that was worth a couple $100 million?
Yeah, more than a couple $100 million. So yeah, they were using a tech from Canby, which I believe they still are until they fully transition away. But in that SPAC deal with Diamond Eagle, I think it was the three components. So it was the Diamond Eagle, and then it was DraftKings, and then it was SB Tech.
SB Tech, okay. And how would let's say FansUnite compare to SB Tech? How did your stack compare to theirs, like competitive advantage? Is it the same value? Is it worth, is this Fans worth, a couple $100 million just based on that? I guess that's my question.
Yeah, I mean, our view is that we are an early stage entry point for people looking to get into this gambling space, but to see the value in tech. And yeah, I think we will have a tech that competes with any turnkey solution shortly. So if you go down the list of things that I think DraftKings identified in the tech stack, which would be things like, one is having licensing, which we already have. So we have held and are getting more online gaming licenses sort of around the world. So licensing is a big aspect. The technical auditing. So we've been through multiple technical audits of our product through Gaming Laboratory International, but also through jurisdictional tech audits. So Isle of Man, Malta. So we've been through multiple jurisdiction technical audits. So we've got that covered. Security, we've been through security. Things like your infrastructure and architecture. So being infrastructure wise, we've got servers on the ground, physical servers in multiple countries to satisfy multiple licenses. So that's already there. The ability to manage risk. So things like not just trading risk, which is setting your odds and messing that up. So we have the ability for traders to come in and manage risk, reporting systems, CRM. So all of those things were identified in a stack, and those are all things that we have built. We just, we were a small company for a number of years. So really we're at the point of introducing it last year. So from the Ascot side, we called it the Chameleon Gaming Platform. And it's because we can really integrate into anybody's environment. So we can go right into an existing sports book, speak to their wallet, speak to their age identity risk calculators, and work with them, or we can give someone a standalone product. Everything we have is a feature switch. So if you have our platform and you want our casino games, you turn them on. If you want our daily fantasy, you turn it on. If you don't, you just turn those things off. So we cover almost all of the areas of what they have. I would say the one we don't currently is a full internal trading team. So we're currently not doing our own trading of odds. But we have a number of partners and the flexibility in our platform to plug in multiple different providers of those odds and trading risks. And then we can either determine through one of our B2B partners which ones they want to use and turn on in terms for coverage or whatever reason, or we can mix and match. So those odds providers might go get an exclusive deal. If I'm speaking to eSports, you'll see like a Sport Radar will go and do an exclusive deal with a league. Bet Genius will do an exclusive deal with a league. So one might have better streaming rights or something like that. We can mix and match.
I want to ask you about this esports because I'm really fascinated by this. It just blows my mind that people, there's people making like, I think some of these guys are making like 10 million a year playing video games. I mean, I guess the athletes, what do they call athletes, whatever they are. There's guys making, 10 million a year in their basement. It's amazing. It's what
well, they've definitely elevated out of the basements into the stadiums now.
The stadiums, right? I mean, I wish I knew this when I had the Commodore 64, the Atari. So Scott, what? Well, first of all, how big is the opportunity that you're really addressing, like right now? Like, what's the real addressable market, that you're going after between the esports and the gaming and everything else? And then I want to dive into the esports.
Yeah, so the addressable market, I mean, it's the numbers kind of vary widely because there's a lot of black market, gray market, so a lot of it's unreported in terms of online gambling, online betting. The US has massive amounts of online sports betting, despite the fact that you can only do it in a handful of states. So we're looking at $150 billion plus industry, I would say easily, and it's quite a bit more than that I think you factor in the markets that don't get reported. So at minimum, we're 150 billion.
$150 billion market. And so what are you doing in revenues now? Like how big can you get, let's say, over the next few years? Between B2B and B2B, we'll talk about maybe the divide.
Yeah, so I mean, we're not doing too much direction, like too far out currently, but we've done over $1 million last year. So where we're at, the stage of the company is for both when FansUnite and Ascot joined, we were both kind of hitting revenue. So the nice part about where we're at today is every aspect of our business, which is our direct to consumer, our B2B, and I would call our games side of it, which is our casino style games. Every aspect of that is generating revenue now. So that wasn't the case 12 months ago. So we're at a stage now where we're hitting revenue on every one of our verticals, and it's going to be sort of rapid growth from here. So we did over $1 million last year. With contracts signed and the revenue ramp on the consumer, we should more than double that this year. And then from there, like this year is all about, or the next 12 months is really the growth phase for us. So it's kind of the gas on the fire. So on the B2B, for example, with our Chameleon platform, it was recently nominated for eSports Betting Supplier of the Year award, up against the biggest providers in the world of iGaming gambling products. We started signing contracts on that at the end of 2019, early 2020. So we have over 4 B2B deals signed with the platform. We have, I would say, 6 or 7 in the pipeline, and we have yet to do any marketing or outreach on that. That's all been inbound. So everything has been inbound, and we're about to add, actual business development side to the business that's actually will go and acquire that. So that's big. I saw somebody asked about the revenue model on B2B. I think the way
we're gonna pop that up actually.
Yeah.
Baby.
Yeah. So the way the contracts are structured, so we'll get an upfront integration fee typically. So we will work with the partner and determine which features they want and decide what the upfront fee will be for us to integrate with them. From there, we get a monthly minimum fee. So it's a recurring revenue. Our typical contracts are 36 months. And there's very high switching costs to switch away from a gaming platform. So we get a guaranteed monthly recurring revenue, and then we get a revenue share. So as they grow and their gaming revenue exceeds the minimum monthly, we take a percentage of that gaming revenue as it grows. So there's no ceiling on the upside potential for a B2B partnership. We've got 4 signed now. Just on the B2B side alone, the incremental cost to adding one is quite low because the infrastructure is built out, the servers are there. So we're ready to scale that significantly and talking hundreds of sites on the platform easily. So where we're adding now is on the gaming license side. So we'll get more jurisdictional coverage. So we're pretty well covered outside of North America. Next would be, looking at North America a little closer, and that's part of our one of our sort of key targets this year is the US.
So what could you be doing? Let's say you're kind of getting, I guess you're at the inflection point, or you're about to get to that kind of inflection point where you really start to kind of scale revenues. What's the upside? Like, how big do you see this being? Let's say 18, 24 months from now.
Yeah, again, it'll be, our revenue growth is going to be in the double digits. I'm not going to say numbers today. We will be, I think, coming out soon and talking about some of the B2C growth we've had and talking about the numbers there. So I think people will quickly be able to get a sense of that trajectory we're on the B2C business and see where it's going. And then just an understanding of once they see the first couple of B2B partners, it'll be pretty easy to see, what happens if we had 4, 5, 6. We're profitable, in under 10 B2B partners. And then we could knock it out of the park with one. So if we have one partner that, does really well on the revenue share side, then that's, one partner, is break even for us.
Okay.
So when I look at sort of where we want to be is in a good company, we like to reference and look at, because started out, I would say, as a Canadian small cap public market company was Amaya. I don't know if you followed Amaya Gaming story, but they were up here many years ago in the online gambling tech space, based out of Montreal originally. Grew by acquiring different gaming assets, had a technology focus, and then kind of out of the blue went and bought PokerStars for $4 billion. Acquired that, became the Stars Group, which has recently got acquired into Flutter Entertainment, which is probably the online biggest, I think that was around a $6 billion acquisition. Flutter being the biggest online gaming group at this point in time.
Wow. Okay. So there's serious opportunities in the space.
Yeah. It's massive. Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting in terms of like the valuations. For investors looking at this, I mean, they're really the value is it tech assets? Like what these things are? It's not really based, value based on the revenues at this point. It's based on what, like, sort of the user base, the tech stack, all that stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah, so I think some going back when when I was saying a lot of them are more of a brand as opposed to the entire tech. So I think the brands get valued a bit more on revenue multiples. I think where we sit is when you can throw in the tech, throw in the the user base. So for our group, I mean, we've got across our properties over 300,000 registered users, generated over 350 million in gaming handle in the last 5-6 years. So it's significant numbers for a small group like ours. And so there's right now, I think the ones to look at in terms of DraftKings has a very high multiple at this point in time. GAN is a good one to look at. It's on the NASDAQ, so GAN. So GAN came over from the London Exchange, I believe, but is very much a turnkey casino solution provider. I think they're sitting at a 600 million market cap at this point. So there's been a quick ramp up there. So I think DraftKings, I think, may again led the way, but people are seeing the underlying value in technology, and it's getting some pretty high multiples, especially if you can do, I think what we can do is show the vertical integration, meaning that we have the ability to launch brands in different countries very quickly for a very minimal cost because we own the technology. So there's going to be a new brand launching next week on our platform. So the value goes up quite quickly.
Okay, so Scott, let's get to the entertainment portion here.
Yeah.
So the demo source.
So I'll show you. When we sort of thought of esports betting, we had a concept of what we wanted it to be, which is not just pre-match fixed odds betting, which is what most people would think of betting. So you go in, you see the odds are aligned, you place a bet, you come back and check it after the weekend. We want to build a platform that appeals to this gamer demographic. So again, we're talking very much 18 to 25, maybe 18 to 30-year-olds, still heavily skewed male, who we think are used to constant engagement and feedback. So we've done what is unique to us, live stream. So I'm going to do my best here to share. Let me.
Okay, we haven't done a screen share on this platform, so let's see how it works.
Yeah. Let's see.
Okay, I think what I have to do is pop you in like this. No. Oh, here we go. I think. Oh, okay. Okay, so I got the screen right.
Yeah, let me know when you can see.
Okay. So I see the screen. I see like your full. Okay, so I see the desktop, your whole screen.
Okay.
And okay, so this is the okay, I see the chameleon on your desktop. Okay.
Okay, great. That's what I was hoping for. So this is a demo of our esports B2B solution. So we call it the Chameleon Gaming Platform. So the screen you're looking at now would be what would be expected on typically where you got the two teams and the odds. Because of our ability to plug in multiple data providers at once, we can offer 50 plus, 60 plus markets on events. So we can have the most markets. What I wanted to give people a concept of was this stream betting. If it's, let me just see if it's coming live here.
Okay.
Refresh that.
Obviously, this looks better on a full screen. We're seeing a small thing on this this video.
Oh, is it?
No, I see basically your, but we've all been compressed. We're all small.
Next week we'll do a big full one too. So hopefully you can get a sense here now. So this is our stream betting product. So unique to us, we built this, we power everything behind this. And so you're watching a streamer. So the guy in the corner, I don't know if you can see him well, but he's playing Fortnite right now.
Also,
yeah.
Can we hear the sound?
Can you hear that?
I don't hear it on my end.
Okay.
I think it may not work on this. Okay, but okay. So we'll watch. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we'll do it for next week. So then on the right-hand side, we start rolling in bets every 20 to 30 seconds. Some of these are going to settle within the next 2 to 5 minutes. So the key here, the idea is we want them to sit on our site, for an hour, 2 hours and watch, but also then be placing these bets. And so how many times is he going to get knocked in this game? So then you can see as it comes up, you can see the percentages of where the money's going. So who's placing bets where. You can place your own bet, confirm it, and then just continue to watch. You can come and check on your bets as it goes along to see how you're doing. And so again, highly engaging, keeps people on site for a long time, and generates just a ton of activity. So we can run this for anything. And
Any type of esports, any type of game.
Any game, yep. So we can run it for any game. And what we can actually do is for our white label partners, so they might be in regions in Eastern Europe where there's maybe a smaller esports tournament going on that we're not going to cover on our platform. They have their own tools, so they can run this regionally. So we have partners running these types of betting events on our platform. That we don't even cover, and we don't have to do any work, but we do see the volume of bets and money coming through.
Okay, and what? So people can bet on what? They can bet on different things happening in the game, like different.
So this one, for example, will he get the final kill in this game? Things in Counter-Strike, like is there going to be a knife kill in the next round? Is there going to be a headshot? Is the bomb going to get planted? Really anything. And that's the beauty about esports betting, is there's thousands of interactions going on that can be bet on. And, with the right data partners, it's actually you can get real-time accurate data from the servers. So in traditional sports betting, all your in-play betting is human input. Humans watching a sporting event and plugging in. So there's, some lags and some opportunities for errors, whereas in esports, this is all direct from server, highly accurate data, and thousands and thousands of things going on. So I'll pause that. I don't know if it's worth showing our first couple of sort of RNG games, the casino style.
Yeah. Let's see one of those.
So let's see if you can see that. I mean, we've got... I'll talk about that part of our business. So it's called Scott Games. This game here is called Crash Heist. So the concept is you're breaking into a bank vault. So you're robbing the bank. You place your bet of however much you want to bet. And once the game starts, they go every 20 seconds or so. Your money just starts rising in value. So you see this clock or this timer at the bottom. You can see how much your money's going out. And the idea is you need to get your cash out before the police show up. Otherwise, you lose it all.
Okay.
So you can see my money going out. So I'll show you a cash out. So I cashed out. If I'd left it in, so I bet 10, I won 18.30.
Okay.
I'll show you what it looks like when you don't get out in time. So the next round starting, you can auto bet here, so people can just set their bet and run every round if they want.
And there's obviously so again, this. Well, if we could hear this, sound, it'd be good.
Okay. Yeah. There's good music and everything here. So see here, I lost all my money. Yeah. So I'll stop sharing and talk a bit more about the game side, because the actual this game side is very exciting for us this year. So we introduced the idea of Scott Games, which is building these games. So we've got 2 are completed, 2 more in production at the moment. We should have 6 to 10 out next year. So these generate a lot of money, and the beauty is they run 24/7. So we don't need a sporting event. We don't need an esports event. Online casinos is higher margin business for every operator. So you're not going to find a sports book that doesn't have a casino and isn't trying to push a sports bettor to the casino. So we're now building these games that appeal again to a younger demographic. So we're not doing the spinning fruit wheels. We're not doing anything typical like that. These are geared to younger users, which is what traditional sports books and casinos are struggling to acquire. That's why people like esports. That's why they like these games. So we just made an announcement on our platform that we have brought in another casino aggregator. So anybody on the Chameleon platform now has access to 6,000 casino games in the system, in addition to the ones we'll be putting in there. But on the other side of that, we have these aggregators. So a casino game aggregator takes from all the top game producers and puts them into one spot, one integration for a casino or an online sports book. So you turn on the aggregator and you can pick and choose the different content you want. Our games are going to be getting into these aggregators now. So this is a separate side of the business that can be run on its own, but it also feeds into our platform. So once we're into these aggregators, our games open up to hundreds and hundreds of different online sports books and casinos around the world. And then we take a revenue share on everything those games generate.
Okay. This is very interesting. So I mean, look, you're being very conservative. I know a lot of companies, in Canada, they don't want to make projections. So we can see there's,
yeah.
But okay, so there's some interesting upside here. And we got some questions here. We got Johnny Stacks. I love these names. We got. Okay, Daddy P is asking, how quickly can you get to 20 B2B clients? And where would that put you versus your peer group?
Yeah, I mean, our aim going forward, once we add on the business development side, and we've got a few things in the roadmap we want to get accomplished first, which is getting our games in there. But once we're hitting the ground with full speed ahead, we'd want to be adding 2 to 3 a quarter.
Okay. And what separates, let's say fans from, because there's a few stocks like in this space. What separates? What differentiates fans from other companies in the space and from other, let's say, stocks that are in kind of the sector? Although there's not that many.
Yeah. There's really not that many, especially at I guess the size that we are. So I don't think you'll find any really that are at a market cap of us that have the technology, the licensing, the infrastructure, the team that we have. So anything that I think you'll see, if you're talking in terms of relative market cap.
What is the market cap of fans right now is what?
40 million.
40 million. Okay. Canadian.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah. And we've seen single product companies in the private space raising money at 50 million US and just having a betting brand. So I think the people that I think will look to and people compare us against are ones that come out that are trying to be the brand. So really have a website, a B2C or a consumer facing site. Might have their own license, and then going after market share on a consumer brand. In terms of top to bottom integration tech stack like us at our size, I don't think there's really many right now. Okay. And then when we talk about licensing, we've had a good history of licensing and regulatory success. So, we got our first gaming license in 2013 in Isle of Man, which was a tier 1 jurisdiction. We were the first ever eSports betting brand to get a license in the Isle of Man. We were the first ever crypto betting company to get a license in the Isle of Man. So we were the first ones ever approved to take crypto as a currency. I think we were the first and possibly only that got licensed to take virtual goods. So we actually have a system of virtual good deposits, and virtual goods are in-game items. So we actually had a deposit system built where we could take guns and knives, virtual guns and knives from Counter-Strike players as a deposit method and turn it into euros to bet with. So we've done a lot of firsts.
They actually have real money value.
Yeah, it's an insanely liquid market for guns and knives and Counter-Strike. And we used to do a lot of giveaways, just as an example. So we in our daily fantasy site for esports, if we gave away a digital item, a gun or a knife, versus cash, we would typically get 4 times the amount of entries into the fantasy league that was giving away guns and knives as cash. And we paid at one time. We've paid up to $1,300 US for a gun to give away.
Wow. Okay, we've got some questions coming in. Daddy P, can you talk about the valuation gap between US companies versus yours? Does being a technology provider warrant a higher multiple versus a pure play B2C company?
Yeah, I mean, my sense, I mean, it's early days for me here with, with the new merge, but my sense is just US companies get a bigger valuation just by the fact of being a US company. So there's that is one. I think there's a gap right now because I do think with the merge of our two companies, I don't think everyone understood, it's up to us to educate now. And that's, why we're starting here. But I don't think everyone saw the synergy and the value of the two companies coming together initially. So we have very great supporters on the Ascot side. FansUnite had great coming together. I don't know that people have fully understood the synergy and the value creation that we've just done. I think some of that was the fact that it was a unique time to do a merger and a financing. Being that I think in normal days, Darius, who's the founder of Fans, we would have been on the plane, traveling around, doing road shows, seeing people, telling them the story, walking through everything. We didn't get to do that, so this is how we're doing it now. So I think that's one key factor for the valuation gap.
Okay. Get Eric asking right now. Do you have the necessary capital right now going forward?
Yeah. So we successfully completed an oversubscribed financing. End of July 31st, I believe it was. So part of the merge condition was subject to a minimum 3 million financing. We did over 5. So we oversubscribed. Yeah. So that's another factor for us. Yeah. So we have a strong balance sheet right now. Darius and I are both, I think, have been in our history excellent stewards of capital. So we've built to scale. So the money we're doing now, is really sort of gas on the fire type money. It's not, we don't have to say, oh, we got to go get our servers, we got to go get our licenses, we've got to build the tech. It's all there.
Okay. Daddy P's got all the great questions.
Yeah.
You have some board members. You want to talk about the backgrounds and what's the what they bring to the table?
Yeah, no, I'd love to. So Darius and myself are on the board, so I speak highly of both of us. And then the additions. So we've got Harish, who was on FansUnite board prior to the merge, and Harish is a former president of Asian markets for Paddy Power Betfair, which is now Flutter Entertainment, the biggest gaming gambling company in the world. Unbelievable connections in the Asian market, highly skilled in M&A. It's one of the aspects I haven't talked about, but M&A is a focus of us going forward. So Fans had acquired McBookie before the merge, and then we did the merge. We've got more sort of in the pipeline. The next one we recently announced was Chris Grove. Chris Grove I've known for many years. I would put Chris as the leading expert on the US sports betting and eSports betting space. So if you ever see an article in Forbes or any of those things referencing somebody, an expert, it's typically Chris Grove. So he's a partner with Eilers and Krejcik Gaming, which is one of the biggest research groups in the gaming space. And so it's an amazing addition for him, especially when we want to navigate the US going forward, which is a challenging place. And then the third one that we just recently added is James Keane. And I would say, pioneer in gaming. So James Keane was on the founding team of Paradise Poker. Paradise Poker in the early days of online poker was one of the top 3 poker sites in the world. So he grew that, the top 3 poker site in the world. James then saw it through an exit to Sporting Bet. Sporting Bet was a large UK-based betting group. James stayed on there as a managing director of emerging markets, I believe was his title. So he saw a lot of their expansion, and then saw that through an acquisition by GVC, which is one of the biggest gaming groups in the world. James is currently the CEO of an online casino game development studio, Social Casino Company. So we went for a very strong industry group that can basically open doors if you add them to the investors we have. So one, they're all shareholders, but we have some amazing investors coming into this from the Ascot side and the Fans side.
Okay. We got audience question. What market do you see as the biggest most valuable target for entry and why?
So for us, it would be vertical specific. So are we going in as a consumer facing brand? Are we going in as a B2B, or are we going in, with our games? Right now, I think, our biggest areas for the B2B products we have are Latin America, Eastern Europe, and then now approaching Asia. So Asia's got some massive market potential, some challenges as well, which is why adding somebody like Harish on the board, who is based there and is operating multiple entities there. So those are the biggest. I think being here in North America. And with the repeal of PASPA in the U.S., which allowed for sports betting on a state-by-state, everyone thought that was like a gold rush or the holy grail of sports betting. And one of the things we loved about esports originally is you don't need the U.S. to be successful in the space because it's a global thing. But the U.S. for us, we're going to be making U.S. announcements pretty soon. But it's still a tough market to navigate especially a small group like ourselves. Where our advantage lies there is we would look to go in as a software provider. I think trying to be a direct-to-consumer brand in the U.S., if you're not already there and big and have the ability to spend hundreds of millions fast, it's going to be very tough facing brand in the U.S. But we have the ability to provide software to any one of those big groups now.
Okay, I'll get a follow-up question there. Are you hiring U.S.-based employees?
Yeah. I mean, we're a very remote company, more so lately, but we have people we only have one in the U.S. at the moment. We have people in Ireland. We have people in Malta. We have corporate structures through partners in other countries. So we're not opposed to hiring great people no matter where they live. And as we look to the U.S., that could be more of a priority.
Okay, and when you were talking about the Asia, Asia is a big, big area. Any countries in specifically you were referring to?
Yeah. So exactly. You can't say Asia and have a strategy for Asia. You need to have a country-specific strategy. So an esports aspect like China is kind of the one. But then you look at other markets for us that have been pretty good or have shown very good potential. Philippines, South Korea, Japan. So we're looking at that more from an esports angle as opposed to a traditional sports angle. Like I said, we can do both now. I think the great thing about us having such a robust and good esports platform is it actually gets us into any door. So if we knocked on a big operator and said we have a better sports book, they're not going to talk to us, or it'll be a challenging conversation. But if we show them, hey, we've got an esports product that integrates with your existing sports book, your existing wallet, it's a seamless transition from your users to bet on soccer to over to esports. Once we're in the door, then we say, hey, we also can do the sports side and the casino side as well. So this is really sort of our foot in the door, and it's great for Mark. We're helping launch a Latin American brand next week, esports first, but I would see that turning on sports in the near future as well.
Okay, so I would think that any online online betting platform that they're taking bets on sports, most of those people probably are involved in esports.
Yeah, so
like very strong crossover.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of surveys over the pandemic of talking to operators just to see what they've been doing without traditional sports, and the number of esports bets is rising pretty quickly, I would say. So I think the number I saw last, and this is probably an Eilers and Krajicek report, was that of non-endemic brands, so these are brands that are not esports first brands, they're Bet365 or William Hill, so a traditional sports book. I think the average volume of esports bets was approaching 9% of their volume, which considering 3 years ago was probably zero, is pretty big. And then you look at groups like Pinnacle, who's probably the leader in esports betting volume. I think they're saying it's now like their 4th biggest market on the site. And so the difference between what you're seeing on those sites is everyone now has the ability to bet on an esport, but they're treating it exactly like football or hockey. And where we come in is we say it's a different user, it's a different demographic, and they want probably a different experience than just going in on a fixed odds bet on a Friday and coming back Sunday. So that's where we can then give them that experience very quickly, cost effectively.
So basically, in other words, so they're not betting on just a basic outcome. So your system, you get more. Is it granular? I guess, like in terms of inside the game, different things, outcomes inside the game, different whatever.
Yeah, so we can do both. So you can come in and just bet on who's going to win, you know, how many kills, how many maps, those things. But then the streaming one I showed is the one where you can then get really granular, and time on site goes through the roof, and that's key. Like, you know, getting people to come to your site and stay is massive. And then when we can throw in those casino games like Crash Heist, which I showed, so you're now betting on a stream. A break between rounds, and you can go jump and rob a bank and make some money. So
it's very compelling, because this is definitely, I can see that you know, with, you know, in terms of the visual experience. I mean, it's you know, it's, I mean, I don't know, it's just, to me it looks just as good as any kind of, you know, sports betting. You know, why bet on football?
Yeah, and now that we have the technology, I mean, there's nothing other than I mean, money and data rights and stuff, but of flipping that in-play betting to basketball. I mean, we have the technology.
The better comparison is more of like you know, any kind of you know, boxing comp, you know, because they're both kind of a violent thing. People love. I mean, humans love, you know, violence. We bet on boxing, UFC, and this is same thing. It's you know, very, very compelling platform. So Scott, what's your vision for the company 2-3 years out? Like, what is Fans going to look like, assuming everything goes right?
Yeah, if everything goes right, I mean, like I said, we want to be on that similar trajectory to what we saw, you know, Amaya do, which is be a global, really have a global presence for our platform, have tier 1 operators using our software, and then, you know, generating significant revenue on our own B2C products. So just more of what we've started to do, and just grow it. Like, this is, like I said, we're kind of gas on the fire now, and you said it is an inflection point, and it really is for us. Like, this is the very beginning of our scale and massive revenue ramp, because like I said, it's, you know, it takes a while to get a revenue generating business going, and now we've got 4 streams of it all generating revenue. So so it's just really about growth for us in the next 3 years.
Okay, so Amaya is that's your role model.
Yeah, not in every way, but it's definitely in the you know, the path from being you know, a Canadian small cap to being a global player in the space is the role model part we want to follow.
Their market cap now is what?
Well, so they merged with they were acquired by Flutter, and Flutter Entertainment is about a $26 billion company. I believe they acquired Amaya into that for $6 billion.
Okay, so okay, so 6 billion is a good market value to aim for. How long did it take to get there? What was the trajectory for Amaya?
Yeah, I'd have to go back. I mean, I think that really took off when they acquired PokerStars.
Okay.
I'd be sort of guessing right now, but I would say that would be 6 years ago, roughly 5, 6, something like that.
Okay, and you mentioned M&A is a big part of your growth strategy. Can you talk about that a little bit? Like, what are your targets? What kind of things are you looking for?
Yeah, so so as I mentioned, you know, FansUnite acquired a UK sportsbook prior to our merge called McBookie. McBookie is a successful sports book that really focuses on the Scottish market. Profitable business, generates significant handle, but is really just focused on a few key sports and one key market. So what we bring to them is some more marketing spends. They're actually going to be marketing. And with the pandemic, they've seen great growth because they actually were forced to focus on casino and virtual sports, which is something that they didn't have a lot of time for before. So with the addition of that and some of the things we're helping them on the technology front, that's going to be a massive growth thing. So we're looking for a couple of things. One is if we can find things like McBookie that are regional, low-cost operators, but we can leverage our technology. So as I said, most of these people operate as a brand. They're licensing their gaming license. They're licensing their software for hundreds of thousands or millions a year. We can leverage our technology now and then go do these acquisitions and take a massive amount of cost out of their business, and then give them the tools and the financing to just focus on the growth. So we're looking for some operators like that where we can leverage our technology. And then we're looking at things that complement our technology. So there's a few things that we like. I won't get too specific on what they are, but there's a few things that we like that would slide into the Chameleon platform that we have, and make it an even more compelling product than it is today. So there's a couple of things like that that are complementary to what we have. So those are kind of the two we're looking at now, and we do have a after off the back of a couple of our announcements, like our pipeline of opportunities is grown quite a bit in the last month or two. So we hope to announce something coming up.
Okay. So Scott, the last question we always ask in these interviews is, in your opinion, what are the top 3 reasons why investors should consider Fans today?
So one is, I always like to look at teams, the people and the people around the business. So I think if you go back and we can talk more about this next week, but if you look at the teams that we just brought together, I think extremely great team top to bottom, but then you look at the board we've added. So it's the people who've agreed to surround themselves or come around us as well. So we've got, I think, an exceptional team and board for the size of company and in this space. I would put it up against anyone. Darius and I have both been at this business. We're both passionate about both our companies and the business and the sports betting space and the esports space. So like I said, we've been at it both 6-7 years. We've known each other that long as well. So I think it's rare that 2 founders in this space that have complementary businesses are in the same city and can pull off a deal like we did in terms of merging the two. I think our business model, so we have that top to bottom integrated business, but we also have diversified revenue streams. And so, again, go back to the pandemic and online gambling, as a survive, it did well, but we have that ability to turn on esports. If sports is down, we have the ability to focus on our software license revenue, which is recurring and monthly and covers our, fixed costs. But then we've got the massive upside potential of our B2C brands, but then the partners we have. So I think the diversification that we have now. And then I would say right now, I think we talked about it, just the valuation gap. So I think we're just getting our story out to a wider audience. We've got great support from guys who invested in both our businesses 5-6 years ago. But now we're at that stage where, like I said, it's the gas on the fire. It's all aspects of the business generating revenue just starting, but with huge growth potential in front of us.
Okay, so basically, right now we're at $30-40 million U.S. market cap. So that's a good starting point. So, Scott, we're gonna see you next week, next Wednesday. Everybody watching, stay tuned. Check your emails if you're on our emailing list, obviously, or you subscribe to our YouTube channel, as they say. You could you'll get notifications. And so we're going to have the presentation next week, and there's going to be obviously a lot of investor interest around that. So Scott, again, thank you, and thank you everybody for joining us. We'll see you in the next live stream.
All right, thanks, Jack.